is Albert coming to you live from Saturday. What's up, everyone? How's everyone doing? Hopefully you are better than great, and that the week is going as you intended for yourself. Now, as usual, I'm going to jump into presentation. When you join the conversation, whether that be live or as a replay, as most of you will see it, make sure to interact, have fun, and let me know what you think about the lesson that I will share with you. And I want to talk about business and pillars of business, and I'm sure you would all agree with me that sales are most important in any business, that every business, the ultimate responsibility for every business is to produce sale. Wouldn't you agree with me? I mean, you can have the best idea, you can be in any type of industry, you can have gold, but if you don't sell it, it will not produce what you need to produce. If you have the company, if you're a solopreneur, if you're by yourself, you have a small little team, or you have a corporation, you have to produce sales, because if not, everything is for naught, of course. And not entire company is, or I should say, not the sales department is not entire company, but the entire company is the sales department. You know how they say, everything is actually subservient to sales. So I'm going to jump into and talk about the elements to produce a sale and what elements are necessary. So I'm going to write this down. It's not going to be very legible, so I'll give you an apology in advance, but it's going to give you a visual representation of my words. What are the necessary elements to produce sales in business? Now, first of all, of course, you have to have motivation, whether that be yourself, whether that be your employees. Everyone has to be motivated, because if they're not, doesn't matter what else is aligned, they will not produce the outcome. Also, state management is one of those things as well. These are those mind elements. What would be then next? Of course, goal setting, that is critical very often. Then next, prospecting is important. Then maybe controlling the sale and presentations. Objections handling, that's very important. Closing the sale. If you do all these things right, if you don't close the sale, you don't know how to do this. It's well, it's futile. Then sales management. So if you have your team or yourself, you need to track your production. You need to see where you are, in which moment, and what's the patterns that you are going through. Are you going away? Going forward? And then what else we have? Well, I would say referral, creating, and prospecting as well to ensure future business. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. Now these 9 elements are not be all end all, but these 9 they cover almost the whole waterfront. And what I see very often when I'm speaking to people, when I'm coaching in business as well, and when somebody's training sales or trying to produce sales, that they have 1 or 2 elements, 3 at most, some books and courses that I see as well that are actually explaining just few of those elements that are disjointed, and if you try to, amalgamate or mix from one and another, it's not placed in a system, and it's very difficult to put a rope around it, to put a thread around it. Now, just to give you a visual idea of what that means for your business, let me say that years ago I had an epiphany. I went to Athens, first time in Greece. I don't know if anyone been there, but if you were, you can attest to that. Not the cleanest place, but I went to Acropolis. It's extraordinary. So much history. And everything is standing there even 5,000 years after, especially the Parthenon. Now, it's not there still in its entirety, but the structure is still standing 5,000 years. And it got me thinking, how in the world they were able to build a structure like that on the hill, on the mountain, and it still stands after 5,000 years. And it's because of the pillars. It's because they have those foundations that are so rock solid. So I'll give you a visual. So let's just imagine that your business is this Parthenon, yeah? And let's say that your business is standing, the legs that are standing are prospecting, objection, handling, and closing. That is that sales part of it. So prospecting, objection, handling, and closing. Now, that will produce outcome, wouldn't it? Of course it will. Now, will that hold your business? For a time being, those three pillars will hold the structure of the Parthenon. It will hold your business in place. But like everything else in life, it's law of nature. Everything moves. Everything has a momentum and it's movement. So sooner or later, things will start to crack, and the pillars will crack and crush down under the weight of the Parthenon, because you do not have enough of foundation to hold it. But let's say if you have all 9 over here, what happens then? You have a strong foundation, and Parthenon is standing still, and they can actually be served as a testament of time even 5,000 years after. Now, I know it's a silly metaphor, but I hope it makes sense for you, because this is how business is structured, and especially sales. If you want to have a predictably prosperous pipeline filled with sales and constant flow of it, you have to have these 9 elements at least lined up to hold the business tight. Now, you don't have to do this to the best of the capabilities and possibilities, because you know what? If you are lacking somewhere, the other elements will actually compensate for that. And if you are able to actually line up 9 columns like this, 9 of those pillars, that means you're inventive, that means you're an action taker, that means you will go back and look where you can actually grow more, and you will find and tweak it, and then what you can do, and what often happens is, you think how to grow, how to get to the next level of life, next level of business. And if any architect is watching this, you can attest to that, because it happened through numerous occasions in history, when they would take structures like this, the old structures, and a few hundred years after, or in a generation, they would see that there is a need or possibility for growth, and they will build on top of it. So let's say you want to advance your business. If you have these 9 columns that are holding that structure solid, you can build on top of it. And what you can do, you can create a whole new level or 2. You can have balconies over here. You can have windows. You can have everything you want, and the structure will not be compromised, because the foundation, they didn't go deep in foundation as we build it today. The foundations were the pillars, those 9 pillars, again, as a metaphor, but that is actually holding it up in the air, and it's ready for that next level. Anyway, that's the lesson for today. What would be the takeaway? Well, the takeaway is, make sure that you cover the whole waterfront. Make sure to see that you have more than 1 pillar. If you have 1 or 2 or 3 pillars that you're depending on, it's not going to write you a good future, because sooner or later something will happen and you will have no legs to stand on. Hopefully that makes sense. So, even if this is online, the whole process is still happening online. You have to be motivated, you have to be in great state. If you're a coach, if you are, selling your products online, to create them, to make sure that you have set your goals, to prospect, to control the sale, all of these elements are still happening online. Nevertheless, just the delivery system is different, and there's obviously some abbreviations, some differences, but the gist is the same. Anyway, let me know what you think about this Whiteboard Wednesday. Hope this message stirred. And as always, I'm going to clock out by saying I'll see you out and about. Stay great.